Good afternoon. Welcome to the Raman Research Institute. We are particularly delighted that during our Platinum Jubilee year, we have such a honored guest to speak to us on during the Vigilance Week, Vigilance Awareness Week. So we have Honorable Justice Shri N. SANTOSH HEGDE with us today to speak to you. So he was, of course, the the judge in the Honorable Supreme Court between 1999 and 2005. And then he also served as the Lokayukta of Karnataka for the term. And I believe he is till date the only person from Karnataka to serve as the Additional Solicitor General of India prior to his moving to the Supreme Court as the judge. He has been awarded many honorary doctorate degrees. I should mention the University of Bangalore amongst many others. And he has been nominated the Man of the Year by Times of India for 2 consecutive years, 2010 and 2011. He has been recognized with IndiaKarnataka for 2006 and 2010. He is the NDTV Indian of 2010 for Anti-Corruption Crusade. And he is also in the Bangalore Hall of Fame award for 2010. I should also tell you, particularly the youngsters, that, you know, with such a dignified, great person, the start has been with being a member of the hockey team of State of Mysore and University of Mysore. So, you know, this is kind of the healthy, well-rounded upbringing that one should really aim for, rather than, you know, we tend to always associate people of great distinction in their careers with a very, you know, what you would be calling nerdy lifestyle in their youth. But that's clearly not the case here, and I particularly wanted to point out to the young people. He is, of course, the son of the soil here in Karnataka, born in the Dakshin Kannada district, and with his education in Mangalore and Chennai, and law graduate from the Government Law College of Bangalore. So I am really happy that he is here to address us on something that is really vital for all of us to understand, particularly in this age where we are struggling to and aspiring to do great things, but are bogged down by certain issues that I'm sure he will touch upon during his talk. So without spending more time between you and Honorable Justice SANTOSH HEGDE, I'd like to invite him to give his presentation. Please, sir.
Namaskar. I'm not going to venture to speak about Professor Raman because it will be like carrying coal to Newcastle. But then I've had the opportunity of knowing about him for a long, long time when I was quite a teenager here, having grown up in Bangalore. I also know the achievements of Professor Raman as well as the institution that you are all connected with. I served in many positions. As a matter of fact, after Additional Solicitor General, I was Solicitor General of India also. And from there, I was taken to the Supreme Court directly. But until I came to the institution of Karnataka Lokayukta, I felt, having come there, till then I was a frog in the well. I did not know the sufferings of the people. I was comfortable, then I thought most people must be comfortable, because I did not know what exactly was happening in administration in this country. Of course, I've convicted people, sent them to gallows, sent them to life imprisonment, such like experiences were there. But then I thought these are rare experience that I am having. You know. When I came to Karnataka Lokayukta, I saw so much of sufferings of the people because of maladministration motivated by greed. I was wondering why this was happening like this. Then I realized that the people of the country are suffering because of the greed that has grown in this country. And cause for that is people in power who exercised powers over other citizens. Now, greed is a disease, according to me, which has no treatment. Very unfortunately, it has grown so much from the days of independence till now that often you may not believe that it has grown to such a level that it runs to lakhs and lakhs of crores also involved in the monetary matters and all. I was wondering, how can this be prevented or contained? In that process, I realized that the fault doesn't lie with the individuals. Fault lies with the society in which we are. When I was young, I lived in a village, and if somebody was sent to jail in that village, my parents would tell me, don't go. It was given by the society, not by the court of law. That punishment was not only to the person who committed the mistake, but was also on the family. So many people were keeping away from committing mistakes and all. It was, mistakes were there, but the number was very, very small. That society today has changed its attitude. Today's society, according to me, respects only money and power, nothing else. Consequently, you would have read about it and seen in the papers also. People who go to jail take a bail and come out. They are received at the airport and taken in processions, shouting slogans about his achievements. What message are we sending to the people in this society today? That is the society which we are now faced with. Because of which there is a conflict arising in the society, because everybody wants to become rich and powerful. If you have power, you can get money easily. If you have gotten you're rich, then you can buy power in this society. That is the position in which we are, because of which this greed is increasing. Let me give you some example of growth of this greed in our country. Whatever figure I'm giving to you, it is there in Google. If you go and find out, whether these things what I say is correct or not, and all. But I got it from the different sources much before Google got it and all. I'll give you one example of one scam which took place in 1 decade, because I don't have the time to talk about all the scams and all. So 1 decade, I will give you one example only. Then you can imagine in that decade how many scams could have taken place and how much money has been siphoned off and off. In the decade of 50s, there was a scam called Jeep scam. In purchasing Jeep vehicles from Great Britain for our soldiers. In that contract, a few people in power siphoned off 52 lakhs of rupees. Big names were involved in that, including Indian High Commissioner in England and all. Coming to a decade thereafter, there was a scam called Bofors. In purchasing weapons for our soldiers, country lost 64 crores of rupees. Thereafter, a couple of decades later, came a scam called Commonwealth Games. In that, country lost 70,000 crores of rupees. This figure is not mine. This is a figure given by the a constitutional authority, CAG, the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, who said that in Commonwealth Games, few people have siphoned off 70,000 crores of rupees. Then came 2G scam. Country lost 1,10,000 crores. Imagine how much money it is and how much money would have been siphoned off in that decade. Then came Colgate, 1,76,000 crores. Ladies and gentlemen, if this much of money in one scam in a decade is siphoned off, how much more money would have gone out? The statistics shows in 2016, budget of Karnataka for the then about 7.5 crores of people, for the whole year was 1,60,000 crores. And you heard in one scam, more money than the budget money of the state of Karnataka was siphoned off. How can there be any development which is contemplated? The previous government, which when it was in power in Karnataka, the ruling party said, today's ruling party called them 40% government. And when somebody from that party asked the present ruling party, how much is the corruption in your rate at that time? Only 10%. Openly it goes on. Nobody is bothered. And many of them are in bail who are who hold political offices in this country. What is the respect that we have for honesty in this country? What do they speak about honest people? Hey, useless chap. He doesn't take, he doesn't allow others to take. This is the definition of honesty in this country today. What is the consequences? How do poor people suffer? I'll shortly give you the examples of my experiences and which indicates how poor people suffer because of this greed. Ladies and gentlemen, if it keeps growing like that, today I'm sure a scam will be nothing less than 2 lakh crores or 2.5 lakh crores. And all put together for the decade, how much will it be? The answer is given none other than the former Prime Minister of this country, late Rajiv Gandhi, in 1985. He said in 1985, out of the 1 rupee government gave for development, only 15 paise reached the target. How much greed must have grown today? Out of 100 rupees, will 15 paise reach the target? Ladies and gentlemen, that is the position. How will we get over this problem? What is the way out? Because there is no medicine for this disease. They are not afraid of law. Law has another difficulty of its own. If a man has to be convicted by the last court, the Supreme Court, it takes 36 years. Who is afraid of law? If I am going to be offered 1 crore of rupees and I am going to be punished after 35 years, God knows I am going to be there anywhere near about that figure. This is the system. Because of greed, every system is failing. Our elders, while drafting the Constitution, created 3 pillars: the executive, the legislature, the judiciary. None of them are excluded from this creed. An institution which I served for more than 50 years, the judiciary, it's not free from corruption. I don't want to speak about legislature because you know who's what in this country. In UP, 35% of the legislature, they are on bail. In Karnataka, persons who are accused of murder are elected as MLAs. How do we change this? According to me, only one way out. That is inculcating a value which our elders had created in the society called contentment in life. If you have contentment, you don't get a disease called greed. Otherwise, you will be a patient of greed. But how do you inculcate contentment? It is not for sale in a chemist shop. When I was young, my parents would tell me the do's and don'ts of life. If I made a mistake, I was corporally punished. When I went to school, there was a subject called moral science, Niti Pata. That reiterated what my parents told me. But that system doesn't exist anymore. Today, most of the parents are working. And work, according to me, is a disease also because you go there, you must get promoted. You must get a good posting. You must prove to the boss that you are capable of doing the job. So you bring the headache home and you keep working in the laptop in the night. You give an iPhone to the kids. You don't discuss with them anything directly. You don't know what's happening in their life. And you go to school, you don't have moral science anymore because it's not worth it. It doesn't fetch money. Of course, the education of today is 10 times better than education at my time. They teach you how to make an atom bomb, but they don't teach you how to use it. We have to change the system. We have to find a way where the parents take the responsibility of teaching the youth, the children, what are the realities of life. Not what Google says, not what others say. You have to inculcate that value yourself and practice it, then inculcate it in your children. Contentment really means that brings you happiness. Contentment doesn't mean that you get a job, you become a sannyasi. No, I don't want anything. No. Everybody must have an ambition. Ambition to grow, ambition to become somebody big, ambition even to become rich. Legitimately earned wealth is no product of sin. Earn, but not from somebody's pocket, not from somebody's plate. Every time you take money and do the job for taking money, you are hurting the right of somebody. There is no other way out. As I mentioned, there is no treatment for that. There is nothing else you can do except if you want to change it, change the attitude of the nation, the only way is to inculcate contentment. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that I have gone through this process of investigation. I named 3 chief ministers of 3 political parties in Karnataka. What are the things they did? Because of the greed in them. 8 ministers I have named. 15 MLAs and others, MLCs have been included, and 150, more than 150 officers. But things are not changing. Those who have substituted them again become the same thing. In Karnataka, just to give one example, mining, which I investigated and I gave a report to the government. 1 metric ton of iron ore got the government of Karnataka as royalty 27 rupees. That 1 metric ton which gave government 27 rupees was sold from 2000 to 2010 at the rate of 7,500 to China. The owner, government of Karnataka, got 27 rupees and the seller got 7,500. 10 years, no chief minister knew about this. The price could not have been revised. One night, Lokayukta officers seized 90 lorries, which had over 2 lakhs metric tons on them. Huge trailers, 20-wheelers, 24-wheelers. Overloaded. A truck which can carry 4.5 metric tons was overloaded with 10 tons. 100 tons is overloaded by 500 tons. And they were all seized near a port, near Velikere port near Ankola. And the minerals were offloaded and put in the port. And the custody was given to the port officer. 6 months later, Lokayukta officers went there to check the stock. Not one grain was found. When the port officer was asked what happened to it, huge waves came from the sea and took them all to the sea. You will be reading names of them and many of these things, you know. Everybody was involved in it. People who give crores of rupees for charities were also involved in it. This is the way things are moving in this country. Unless majority of the people inculcate contentment, there's no way out for this problem. If you don't, just think of our neighbors, where a liter of milk is about 150 rupees. We have one down south, we have one in the north of India. Please see the consequences, if not for you, for your children. I got an award from one of the companies, I'll name them Jindal Steel Company. Gave me 1 crore with an award. I gave it to the Indian Army. I didn't have 1 lakh in my account. If there was anything wrong in me in those 5 years or even today, they would have stripped me naked and dragged me in the streets of Karnataka, Bangalore. Because I name them every day in speeches like this. I named Dharm Singh from Congress, Kumaraswamy from JDS, and Yediyurappa from BJP. But nothing happens. The man who acquitted Yediyurappa is today Lokayukta. How do we change this? You have to change the system of your voting. Don't vote because somebody is there who is going to help you after this election. That doesn't solve the problem of the nation. If you know somebody who is honest and wants to serve the people, vote for such people. If you don't find anybody there, there's a button called Nota. That will send a message to the political parties of the day. Today, politics is what? It's not a service anymore. It's a business. Everybody wants to enter politics. Judges resign and come contest elections. IAS, IPS officers resign and come contest elections. What for? Because there is money, because there is power. They are not public servants. They are public masters. Just this morning I was going to a function in opposite Hudson Church near the corporation. And opposite to IMC is, there is a house belonging to the Commissioner of Police. We had to 3 times wait for the light to change for us to go. When our term came, 3 policemen came and stopped us because Commissioner's office is going from this house to this office. I mean, arrogance is part of the system today. Then there is another value which is absolutely necessary. that is humanism. We all think we are born human beings. There's no species called human beings. We are born to a species called Homo sapiens, which has nothing to do with humanism. Humanism is a value which our elders created in the society for peace and solidarity. Where is that humanism today? In Karnataka, the poets have written, I'll say it in Kannada, then I'll translate it. Vikam, ಏನೇ ಆಗು ನಿನಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದವನಾಗು ಆದರೆ ಮೊದಲು ಮಾನವನಾಗು ಅಂತಾರೆ. Become what you want to become in life, but become a human being first. I've been to more than 1,700 educational institutions. There, I convey a message to the youth in which I say, ಹುಟ್ಟುವಾಗ ಮಾನವನಾಗಿ ಹುಟ್ಟದೇ ಇದ್ರೂ ಜೀವನ ಪಥದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾನವೀಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಅಳವಡಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಸಾಯುವಾಗ ಮಾನವನಾಗಿ ಸತ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೇಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಗೌರವ ಇಲ್ಲ. Even though you are not born a human being in the journey of your life, if you acquire humanism and die as a human being, there is no better glory than that. But in today's society, where is humanism? I've seen so many cases, because the jurisdiction of the Karnataka Lokayukta were two. One is giving relief to people who suffer from maladministration. The other is fighting corruption through Lokayukta police. These are the only two jurisdictions we had. And in that process, you could help hundreds and hundreds of people. You could do that, which example I'll be giving it to you shortly. But then I found the sufferings of the people, mainly due to greed, but also due to arrogance of office. How people suffer is immaterial, they don't care. And that is another ground which brings hatred in the society. Unless we have humanism in us, I think there can be no peace, no solidarity in the society, especially in India, because we have so many religions, so many groups, castes, so many languages. Each one is used to fight the other. Our Swamijis appeal to the ministers, give reservation to our community. Make a man from our community a minister. Make a chief minister from my community, otherwise we will go on strike. Swamijis, who are supposed to have given up all the earthly rights. This is the position in which we are. I'll give you some examples of my experience of things. 2008, a tailor and his wife brought a 6-month-old child to my office. I asked them, what's the problem? They said, sir, this child looks perfectly all right. It has no rectum. It eats through the mouth, defecates through the mouth. The local doctor said, don't worry about this and I'll take the child to a specialty hospital where pediatric surgeon through operation will set it right. Believing that, they took the child to a government medical college hospital and the pediatric surgeon examines the child and says, I'll do everything all right, but it'll cost you some money. Money is not expense, money is bribe. The parents knew about this, what's happening in the society. So they had taken some money, which the money they kept it in a doctor's table. Doctor counted that money and says, oh, for this money, I'll make a hole near the rib cage. The fecal matters will go out from there. Child has to wear a bag throughout life. Fortunately for the child, they didn't believe the doctor. They went around to other private hospitals where they couldn't afford the operation. They brought the child to Lokayukta office. I didn't ask the government hospital to do the job because I had an easier way. I was a patient in Manipal Hospital in the old airport road thing. So I knew them because I come from their place. So I spoke to them, and they said, they'll do the operation without any money. So I sent the child there. They operated the child. And the child, for every birthday, they used to call FaceTime with me and request me to bless the child for the child. Gives me so much of pleasure to bless the child. Today, the child is a 16-year-old girl who's doing her SSLC. And a month back, they came to my house, brought the child, and they wanted me to wish that child. I have the photograph here. I want you to see. I hope you can see this child, 16-year-old child, doing SSLC, no deficiency whatsoever. That other lady behind is my boss. Boss means my house only. See, this is the child. Imagine this child or this girl wearing a bag for the rest of her life, and what would be the consequences of things like that. And this doctor must have prayed to God, give me education, make me a pediatric surgeon, get me a government job. He got all that. And here gets a chance of giving a future to a small child. And his greed didn't allow him to do. For me, how happy I am. I could help an unknown child to come to what she is today. Ladies and gentlemen, contentment gives such happiness. You don't require any sleeping pills to sleep peacefully. 2009, a person came from Koppal district. Asked him, what's the problem? He says, my wife has delivered a girl child. I said, what's wrong with it? No, sir, there is a scheme of the government of Karnataka called Bhagya Lakshmi. As per that scheme, a child born to a poor family gets certain monetary benefit for certain age. I went to the social welfare department. They said there is no proof that your daughter is from a poor family, so the child won't get the benefit. He expressed himself in his own emotional way. I believed him. I sent an officer to Bagalkot. To Koppal district. And that officer's report said, his wife was a pregnant lady in the last stage of pregnancy, and a lady who was not pregnant, but an accompanying person, walked 9 kilometers from their village because they couldn't afford the bus fare, came to Koppal district hospital to deliver a child there. And the staff said, first money, then hospital, then bed. They didn't have the money. So perforce she sent the accompanying person back to the village to get some money. Then the staff said, until the money comes, you can't sit here, go sit outside. Knowing very well her position, knowing very well how much time it takes for her to go 9 kilometers one way and back another 9 kilometers. But they didn't agree. So she walked out of the hospital, crossed the road, sat in the bus stop. Before the money could come, she delivered a child in the bus stop, in public, in front of the district hospital. It's all reported in the newspapers. I sent a report to the government of Karnataka using a principle called vicarious liability, a legal principle which says master is responsible for the mistake of the servants. And the child would have been prepared to be born in the hospital. That itself was a proof of her poverty. Government gave the money. But think how many people can keep coming to the Lokayukta. That too from that far a district. Did not the staff know what is the condition? What will be the consequences of sending her out? Who cares? Maybe they have to pay the doctor also. Maybe the doctor has to pay the superintendent also. Look at this, how people can survive. Rich people can buy, no difficulty with that. They'll arrange in the advance itself the bed to be kept vacant. Where is the humanity in them? It's not only doctors, I'm giving you example of doctors because it touches people. I'll give you another example where doctor is not involved. One day a lady came, over 80, 85 years, and she told me that she has no income. Her son who works in Mumbai, sends 250 rupees by money order. Postman wants 10% of it. If you don't give it, he puts an endorsement, visited the house 3 times, addressee not found, returned to the sender, but it never went to the son back. It was siphoned off on the way. Where will this lady go? Will the son come from Mumbai for 25 rupees sake? He'd rather stop paying the money. Now, I had a difficulty to help this person because postman didn't come within the Karnataka. Authorized to do the investigation. He must have calculated 250 rupees, 10%, 25 rupees. And he tells me, sir, 25 rupees case. My officers are busy investigating crores and lakhs of scams and all. I don't have officers to do that. You have a police force. You do it yourself. Knowing very well my police cannot do that. So I had no way out. Either I had to tell her to go to the court or go to somebody else. Maybe a politician or somebody else. But then I thought, I'll discuss the matter with the police. I called the police chief, I explained it to him and all. He said, why did you call him? You should have told us in the beginning itself. We would have solved the problem for you. I said, how will you do it? Oh, you don't want to know. We will do it for you. Okay. 3 months later, that lady comes. Sir, everything is solved. I said, what happened? I don't know. He stopped asking. He gives and goes. He don't even talk to me. Okay, good. Then I found out that this methodology police uses whenever they want to do this thing, I'll go fix you in a rape case, I'll fix you in a murder case, I'll fix you in that, I'll fix you in this. So stopped. So far as this lady is concerned. Others it will continue. We have to do that. We can't go on saying, okay, in law I can't do anything. One more last example and I'll stop. One day, Air Force officer from Hyderabad telephoned to me. He said, 3 days back, his older brother's 18-year-old daughter is killed in a road accident in Bangalore. Her body is in a government hospital. Police are not giving the body. We have kept an ambulance to bring the body to Hyderabad. And 3 days, we haven't seen her face. We haven't done the last rites. Try and understand our sorrow. I said, I'll get back to them in a couple of hours. And I went to the hospital, met the superintendent. He said, it's not possible. I've deputed 2 doctors for the postmortem ward because this hospital gets 4 to 5 accidental death, murder cases, such like thing and all. So I sent 2 doctors. Let's call them and find out why it is not done. So he sent a peon. One of the doctor comes and addresses the superintendent. What's the hurry, sir? Body is not decaying. It's in a freezer. Am I to treat the living patients first or examine the dead body? Then the superintendent said, who authorized you to treat a living patient when I deputed you to the postmortem ward, which is 100 meters away? He said, no, one person came from the main building, told me that his relative is not getting proper treatment. So he requested me and begged of me to go and do the treatment. So out of humanism, I went there. So I asked the superintendent, did you know this person who came to you or his relative before? No, first time. Then I said, now I know what's happening in that. Without money, they won't do postmortem. In spite of the tragedy to your family, their hands should be filled up. I said, okay, now I know. The main building has 30 to 35 doctors of different discipline. If they are not satisfied with one doctor, they could have gone to another doctor there itself. Instead of that, they came in search of a doctor in post-mortem ward to treat that relative, because they wanted the relative to go to the post-mortem ward. So I said, we will take action on this basis, but I will sit here until the post-mortem is done. And the body is sent to Hyderabad. The post-mortem was done, body was sent to, put in the ambulance and sent to Hyderabad. What would he have done if it is his own daughter? Ladies and gentlemen, these are the few things that took place during my, many things have happened. I'm giving you examples of few things here today. And imagine what is the future of this country. Will it stop? I don't think it will stop. It has been growing. The number of zeros are increasing. It for the sake, if not for your sake, for the sake of your children. That we should have peace and solidarity in the society. The way things are moving, I'm afraid it might lead to a revolution in this country. In a revolution, there is no winner. We have seen it in the history of Europe. Let's have a peaceful change. Like good days turned out to be bad days today. Similarly, let's from bad days we go back to the good days. But there should be an effort from everybody. Don't ever say what I can do when thousands of them are there. Yes, you can be the first. You change. Make your children understand what you are following. That will bring about a change. Otherwise, these religious feelings, these linguistic feelings, dividing the country, for the sake of future change. I don't have children, so I don't have to worry about that, but I am worried. I've been to more than 1,700 educational institutions. I'm 84 years old. On a phone call, I accept invitations. This morning I had an invitation. Now I'm here. I'm taking a late night flight to Mangalore. I'm addressing the Mangalore new port officers and all. What for? Because I want to see a peaceful society. From my experience, though it didn't hurt me, please try and change this society for the sake of yourself, for the sake of your children. Now, if there's anybody asking any questions, I'm willing to take it, but I have still half an hour with me, so. I don't get angry, so you can go on asking questions, whatever you like.
In a similar line of questioning the present status of our society, I've been thinking every day, every night. The answer that I get at the end of the day is, as you said, greed, very well suited in the place. If I ask why greed, like you said, if one fills up his stomach, he will no longer stretch his hand for additional food. He will keep quiet. Can that happen? If I ask, no. The reason is inequality in money. The society, there is so much of inequality in the money, and that has caused a big gap between the different sections of the society. That's a major one. Added to it, population. Added to it, lifestyle following the other countries. They all are cumulative. They add to each other. They add in phase. How can you answer this? We should tackle the basic reason of bringing out equality among people in the country, and whether democracy or this type of functioning is responsible for that is what one should think of. Your comments.
In today's greed, people who receive money are mostly well-off people. Poor people don't have an opportunity of making money because they are not holding any position. I agree with you, the equality has been a cause for many other issues in the society. But so far as the corruption is concerned, it is mainly people in power who are holding office of power. They are responsible. They do not suffer from this inequality of monetary holding and all. It is the highest man to the middle order who receives salaries from the government and makes enough money. He is the one who suffers from greed. The givers are mostly poor people, like in the hospitals and other places and all. Of course, rich people also give money because they want more money than what they have and all. Therefore, according to my understanding, it is the rich people who are the main cause, or people who have are the main cause for today's growth of greed in the society. Poor people, they have to pay per force for everything and anything. So I don't agree with you, sir, when you say the inequality is the main cause for greed in this country. That I have. I mean, but no, sir, he is not suffering. He's got good salary. Comparatively, he's got good salary. He draws about 15 to 16,000 rupees a constable. With the dearness allowance, it goes up to about 25 or something. So I don't believe anyway. He wants to be richer than what he is and all. Whereas the man who gives, an auto rickshaw driver or pusher or somebody, he will be paying out of his daily wages, and he doesn't get pension. Anyway, be that as it may, this inequality, I fully agree with you, may be one of the causes of the thing and all, but it keeps going to the people who all have it and all. Yes, sir. So
Yeah.
change matter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. So I feel we have a parallel path, a common man. ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ಒಂದು we just follow a right path, say. So there is another path wherein we see there are a lot of politicians and people like that. So every day we do suffer with various issues. So is there a way a common man, how do we overcome these issues? I don't know whether I'm able to frame the question.
No, you also want this system to be changed and for a better system to come into the play and all. But the question is this, if it is something like a disease which is spreading greatly, there is a medicine for that. Even before the disease comes, you have a vaccination, inoculation, and such like thing and all. After you are inflicted by the disease, you have a treatment for that. But for greed, that such treatment is not there. If somebody could invent it, I'm sure he'll get triple Nobel Prize or something and all, because greed is not confined only to India. It is there all over the thing and all. Especially in Asia, many of the countries are suffering from that, Therefore, according to me, I thought about it very seriously, and I found out this is the only way out and all. That's why I'm going around talking about this only, because there's no other way. Even if you kill that corrupt man, it won't change. For example, I'll tell you, there's an organization called Transparency International, a German organization, which makes annually the honesty level of different countries and all. 2016, I'm giving you 1 year's example. As per that, China is more corrupt than India. In China, sentence is death sentence. And their courts do not take more than 1 year or something, and a year, 45 years is required and all. Even then, in India, the sentence is 7 years only. China is more corrupt. That means greedy people are not afraid of law. There is no medicine. Which other way can you say? I don't think our religion teaches anything to change the religion, because Swamijis also extend their hand and all. So in that process, according to me, the only way out is this. Inculcate a value of contentment and humanism. I think you can live peacefully. There is no other way out. If you keep on thinking there will be new way out and I will not change until the new way comes and all, then I think that damage would have been done and all thing.
Because the moment we even enter as a police station, so there is a sentry who is standing with gun. You will ask, what is that? I mean, why are you trying to do it? So there is no one, you tell me the issue, then you just get it. Then mostly we are stopped at the door itself. I mean,
Yeah, it is true. And it's not only police station. Police station is very popular for this. That's why you give an example of police station.
Yeah.
You go to Vidhan Sabha also, at the door itself, you've been, you will be met and a problem will be tried to be solved and all that.
Yes. So, so I don't know. There is any way out for this for a common man. I mean, this is experienced in.
Can inculcate contentment in life and all. I'm sure you won't get it and all. There are many people who are honest, who are content with what they get legitimately and saying. And I also tell the students, you don't become a sannyasi, you must have an ambition to grow. Okay? Work hard and honestly become rich and all this thing. Anybody else?
So even the education system is wrong
Correct.
actually.
Now the private education institutions, about capitation fee and other things and all, what is it except robbing? And in between you think of tutorials and others who give you the question paper and collect money and say, every system is like that. Because everybody, if they are greedy, then what will happen to the nation? Try to one day practice this, and I won't give bribe, I won't take bribe. Because both giving is an offense and taking is an offense. Under the Prevention of Corruption Act, definition of corruption is a public servant receiving illegal gratification for showing official favor. Now there is another section which says a person who gives also as much responsible as the person who takes. So both are guilty. Even after giving money, which is an act of persuasion, you are guilty also.
You started your, when you started talking about greed, you started with this example of, from your childhood, about the moral values that were inculcated as a part of the family. I mean, or school. Where is that? I mean, now I agree that, there are some places moral values come as a part of the religious thing, but there's some common elements. So is that something that we can ingrain into the system? Because I noticed this fact of breaking law or, not really crossing the road at the zebra crossing. These are things that are, accepted by your family. You are dragged across as a child to do things with the family which are blatantly wrong, even at very trivial level. And I feel that, it doesn't happen out because there is something called abiding by the law, which you are taught that if you're in society, the moral thing to do is to abide by the law. That seems to be the compass we have lost, right? I mean, we don't think twice before doing that. So is that something that we can inculcate in the schools? Because like, this is yours, this is not yours, you cannot touch someone else's. We see that being inculcated in play schools outside, whereas, here it is, you'll tell your child, you want it, you go grab and get it. It's a survival of the fittest. So this is something that
you're
is
right
very common in our society.
Earlier, that was a system, because the parents and their parents must have been taught that what is the method for survival in this thing. That is, that follow certain values in the thing. So our elders had built up certain values, how to meet. You heard others were saying. But where the thing is, when you deprive somebody of his legitimate right and give it to somebody else because you take money from him, then you are cheating him. In that process, he suffers. Basic rights in ration. You are entitled for certain kgs of rice and all. But the people who are involved in distributing the rice take your share and gives it, and when you go there, they say there's nothing left and all. Then you starve. Otherwise, you go and buy in black market. Take the hospitals. How many deaths take place because the doctors refuse to treat the patient unless the money is paid? How often a dead body is not released until whatever they ask is given? These are the things which hurt the people. The examples I gave it to you today are not involving rich people. Take the first one. He was a tailor. His child was the one which was suffering from the thing. Take the second one. He was looking for a benefit for the daughter from the government because he didn't have that money and all. Take the third one. Yes, of course, these are Air Force officers' family and all. But even they had to pay the money if they wanted the body earlier. But they came to Lokayukta and we did the job for them without paying the money with the thing. But yes, one other thing that your parents can inculcate in you is a legal aspect. That is not to break the law. Not to break the law, not only when you are being looked into by others, whether you are breaking the law or not. Even nobody looks at you. You are alone, don't break the law. Because the consequences are very, very severe. But today, of course, you break the law, then you pay the money and get out of the problem. Therefore, I, for one, for the 5 years, and I'm following it, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody has shown a finger at me. Having sent 3 chief ministers to the court of law and 1 to the jail also. 8 ministers. And I dealt a case from Ballari where the illegal mining was the highest. I wrote a chapter in which I said Republic of Ballari, meaning thereby no law of this country ever operated there. If somebody complained against illegal mining, next day it disappeared. No case filed. No investigation made. But that is one part of this thing. Here I am talking about another part of this thing. There it is a gang is working. Here, public servants, you're misusing the power. Yeah.
Your comments about in the elections pressing the nota button, will it have any value?
Sir, I can openly say today in the last 3 elections I put nota. Why was nota introduced? Because the election process requires honesty in electing. That honesty is confined to choosing the right person. How do you choose the right person? Because he's a relative, he's from your caste, he's from your religion, or what will he do to you when he wins? These are the standards which we use to vote. That is not the standard. As a matter of fact, the constitutional classification is the legislators had no power whatsoever. But over the decades, they have inculcated all the powers to themselves. There was no salary for them till 1960. No elected person, member of parliament or assembly or panchayat had salary because they were doing service. And their going to the parliament or to the assembly was only for 100 days in 365 days in a year. So there was no salary. They went to the concert, their travel charges were paid, room is given free, subsidized food were given. Then within 100 days, for the year, they come back to their constituency. Nothing to be done because all other things are to be done by the bureaucracy. The panchayat officer, the district collector, like that. But today all powers are taken by them. And their salary is more than the Supreme Court judge's salary. For 100 days, they get salary for 365 days. That's not everything. All the money to be spent in that constituency goes through the elected person. What for? Why do you have a deputy commissioner there? Why do you have an assistant commissioner there? Why do you have accounts officers there? Here, nobody to supervise them. You, simple thing, go by, you find bus shelters, there is a photograph of the MLA or MLC or a panchayat or the councillor, donated by so and so. Whose money is donating? Take the present 5 promises made. One is to the ladies, lady of the house. They are creating division now, whether daughter-in-law is the lady or the mother-in-law is the lady. Now 2,000 rupees for them. Where from they are giving it? Is the members of the assembly giving it? I would be the first person to congratulate them if they're from their salary, you give it. Because you are getting 350 days salary. No. Then 200 units of electricity. Where from? They have increased the electricity charges high and you pay. From that they get time to give it. Okay, that's one part of it. Now, generation of electricity has gone down, so there is no electricity to be given. So they are taking it away from others, closing the factories. All right, unemployed graduate, 2,000 rupees for graduate, 1,500 rupees for graduate. There's so many of them are unemployed. Where are they going to give it from? I made an open statement, the jurisdiction or the responsibility of the government is to give good education, good health care, and create more employment. Don't give free. The free buses are going down, women are traveling in that buses. I made a statement. You go for 3-4 days every other day, and when you come back, your husband won't be in the house, he'll be missing. I mean, this is what the thing is. What is the idea behind it? Give it to blind people. Give it to people who can't work on their own. It's not given to them. It's given to healthy people. Okay, thanks a lot.
Sir, only.
Okay, go ahead.
See, you said, you quoted that this, it will, to punish a culprit, it will take 35 years to 40 years. But what about in other countries? Are they not greedy? Are they not doing crime? Why that? Can it not, this judiciary can be improved and it should be punished very quickly when they do the mistakes or when they are corrupt?
Now, two things are different. I am showing a deficiency in the judicial system in India, which encourages people to commit crime. That is something different from a man taking bribe and trying to solve that problem of individuals being there. Now, we have followed the British system. British system has multiple fora of appeals and revisions and all. I say that is not the right system. The American system is the right system. America has only 2 courts. First court, if you are not satisfied with the first court judgment, you go to a second court. That's the end of the matter. And there, if the court comes to the conclusion that you have come as a speculative litigant, not being aggrieved with the result of it, but we want to delay the judgment and all, then you are fined heavily. Here, it's not like that. Municipal court to civil judge to district judge to high court to Supreme Court. Now, because of this, speculative litigations have come. That is, you know you have no case, or I'll say, I know I have no case, but I file a case against you. I obtain a stay order. So either if I'm to give you money, I'm not giving you the money, okay? Or vacate the house, I'm not vacating the house. And when I lose in the first court, I go to the second court. There's a principle called status quo. That is, whatever is prevailing in the lower court, you follow it. So I get a stay order. I'll continue there. Then I go to the district judge, then I go to the high court, then I go to the Supreme Court. So it takes about 40-45 years. I'm not joking, I'll read it out from the newspaper this thing, you know. So I drag the case like that. This is speculative litigation. Now this is misused by many people who want to continue to do there, not to repay the loan, not to vacate the house, something like that is the thing, you know. So therefore I said, follow the British system, American system, only 2 courts. But then there are people who are opposing it, professionals, because there is a separate set of lawyers in the municipal court, separate set of lawyers in the civil judge court, separate set of lawyers in the high court, the district court and Supreme Court. So they don't want to lose their cases and all that. But then there are ways and means. I am prepared to give them ways and means of doing it. Today litigation is not only property litigation or criminal litigation. There is taxation litigation, there is service matters, there is labor matters, there are so many other factors are there. Take them to other courts. First court, take civil disputes. Next court, taxation. Next court, whatever the service disputes or like that, distribute it to other courts. Make only one appeal court. So that it should be. How do you know Supreme Court does the justice? It's also handled by a man, not God. So that is why the whole problem is. Now, just to convince you, I'll read out this thing. Yeah, I'll read one. After 30 years in jail, man's death penalty reduced to life term. Life term is 14 years. 30 years he was in jail. Okay. 40 years on, 3 retired officials get 4 years jail for fraud. They have already served 40 years, and the court gives 4 years. They should have been acquitted the first 4 years, but they were in jail for 30 years. Case pending for 31 years before the Supreme Court 5-judge bench. In Supreme Court, 31 years the case is pending, the Constitution bench. At last count, the Supreme Court had 69,766 cases pending before it for adjudication. But what catches the eye is the pendency before its Constitution bench. The oldest case before the 5-judge Constitution bench has been pending for 31 years now. Another before the 7 judges bench, which has been undecided for 29 years. In all, 29 cases are pending before the Constitution bench of this delay. If it is 35 years in the Supreme Court, before that it was in the High Court, before that it was in the District Court, how much time has gone? Will the party be alive? In where I come from, there is a thing saying in Kannada, Geddavanu sota, sotavanu satta. Man who wins loses, man who loses dies. Thank you very much for listening to me. I have another thing.
So on behalf of Raman Research Institute, SENS, and the Indian Academy, which are the 3 institutes which jointly arranged for this talk by Honorable Justice Hegde, I would like to thank you from the bottom of hearts for accepting this invitation. I know you talk to much larger audience and to maybe different strata which changes. We are part of the society, and we would we definitely value your coming here and telling us your experience as a local. I mean, it's been eye-opening for at least me personally, and I'm sure for others, as to we all know of it in some sense, but to have met someone who has dealt with it over years and has kind of made it a crusade to tell us about it. I'm really actually proud that as institutions of science we have been able to bring someone like you to our colleagues here. Thank you so much.
Good.
Requesting all of you to please join us for the high tea.